Welcome to Austin, Texas, the campus of the University of Texas, and Dish Falk Field for Big 12 baseball today on Fox Sports 1 as the West Virginia Mountaineers meet the 17th ranked Longhorns of Texas. And welcome to Austin. Dave Barnett along with Pat Combs. West Virginia, its second year of Big 12 baseball. They lead the brief all-time series with Texas, hoping to get back to yet another College World Series this year. We will see two of the best hitters in college baseball, certainly two of the best leadoff hitters in college baseball today.
No, absolutely, Dave. This is an exciting time for both clubs, but especially for Texas Longhorns coach Augie Garrido. He has not been more excited about his leadoff hitter, Ben Johnson, who leads the Longhorns in a number of categories, hits, total bases, along with a .435 batting average. Augie calls him one of the hardest working players he has ever coached, and Johnson is an exciting player to watch. Equally as exciting on the other side of the field for the West Virginia Mountaineers is what Randy Mazey, head coach, calls his team's spark plug. That's Taylor Munden. Munden is the leadoff hitter for his team. 5 home runs after only 15 games to start this season. He'll lead this explosive West Virginia offense and line up in this rubber match of the 3-game series between Texas and West Virginia.
First 2 games have each gone 10 innings. Texas won Friday, West Virginia yesterday. And the lineup for the Mountaineers will, as usual, begin with Taylor Munden and his .368 average and team-leading 5 home runs. He'll be followed by Justin Fox, a .300 hitter so far. Jackson Kramer is at first. Cleanup hitters in left field. That's Brad Johnson with Cam O'Brien catching. Kyle Davis, the DH, batting 6th. Sean Wood is in right. Sean Corso is at second. And K.C. Huff, who drew a bases-loaded walk in the 10th to drive in the game winner last night in center field. They will face 6'2" junior from Waco, Texas, Chad Hollingsworth.
Well, Dave, the best way to describe Hollingsworth, the big right-hander here, you're looking at, Skip Johnson calls him a bulldog. He's a competitor. He wants the ball. He loves to pitch. The unfortunate problem for him is he battled injuries last couple of years. He's coming off an arm surgery here in the fall, but he's back on the mound for the Longhorns. He'll feature a fastball 84 to 89, but with great command. He'll work both sides of the plate with it.
Here's the defense behind Hollingsworth. Will pitch to contact and let his defense do the support work behind him. In infield with Brett Boswell, C.J. Hinojosa, Brooks Marlowe, and Tres Barrera. With an outfield of Johnson to left, Zane Gerwitz, who has moved this year from third base to center field, and Colin Shaw is in right with Michael Cantu doing the catching. Randy Mazey in his 3rd year with the Mountaineers after 6 years as an assistant at TCU. From Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and Clemson. And he kept some pretty good Texas high school contacts, Pat, because almost half his team is from Texas.
Yeah, it seems like Texas North there in West Virginia, but he's done a great job recruiting in Texas. And as he talked about, you know, the importance of Texas players who don't go play for UT or for Rice or Baylor or A&M, he comes along and picks up a great recruiting class. He's at, like you said, Dave, 15 players from the state of Texas,
including Taylor Munden from Louisville, out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a senior who is putting on a very early run, at least to be considered for the top player in the Big 12, and he goes right after the first pitch and fouls it away. Chad Hollingsworth last year mostly out of the bullpen until the postseason, and he was almost unhittable in the starting role as he misses away. No starts until last year. Complete game against Texas A&M at his first start, and then shutout work in the College World Series against UC Irvine. 8 1/3 scoreless, 4-hit innings. That ball is belted into the left field corner, but foul. A little too much hook. 2-2.
Well, Dave, Hollingsworth, really pitched well in the playoffs last year. Both games against A&M and UC Irvine, had shutouts in both those games, but had about 13 to 16 days of rest in between starts because of those arm problems. He's hoping to get consistent, get his arm healthy, build it back up, be able to go multiple starts here without any injuries, and so far so good early in the season.
His 4th start of the season today, and a breaking ball is driven through the hole, and a leadoff hit for Munden.
We'll take a look at Munden's swing here. He's a very aggressive hitter, especially leadoff hitter. We talked about the 5 home runs. When he sees a good pitch, he's swinging. You can see down in the count, 2-strike count, stayed inside the ball, kept his hands in, got a pitch on the inside half of the plate, drove it into left field.
Munden 6 out of 7 stealing this year as Justin Fox looks at strike 1. Fox, a 300 hitter with a couple of homers so far. A senior from New Martinsville, West Virginia, one of 3 home state products on this Mountaineer roster. Our home plate umpire today, Jim Garman, with Ray Leibel at first, Chris Koski at second, and Wes Hamilton is at third.
Now you can see Hollingsworth working middle of the plate so far. First couple of hitters really just trying to get his rhythm established. Made the mistake with Munden on that 2-strike pitch, caught too much of the plate with it. Again, Hollingsworth really just trying to establish the strike zone early in the game here.
And just misses. Jim Garman says a little bit low, apparently. 2 balls and 2 strikes. West Virginia 8-7 on the year. Won both series against Texas leading into this best of 3 to open the 2015 conference season. So they lead this all-time series, brief as it is, 5-3, and they've won 3 out of 5 meetings here. Could be 2. A roller handled by Brooks Marlowe, and Hinojosa on to Barrera for the 4-6-3 double play.
Well, great pitch by Hollingsworth here. 2-strike count again. This time he makes a better pitch on the inside corner. Ties up Justin Fox, and Fox can't do anything with it but hit a ground ball to second base. Beautiful turn here. Marlowe to Hinojosa on to Barrera. That's about as easy a double play as you'll see.
So with 2 gone, that'll bring up the first baseman Jackson Kramer. Another Texan. He's a sophomore from Capel, also in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And with 3 home runs and a threat to hit one out just about every at bat. First pitch misses a little bit high. Texas now 12-7 on the year. As Brooks Marlowe takes care of Kramer. And Hollingsworth faces the minimum 3 in the first. For the Longhorns coming to bat. For the bottom half of the first, we will see Ben Johnson try to get things ignited for the Longhorns. He'll be followed by Colin Shaw, the right fielder. C.J. Hinojosa. Marlowe, the second baseman, bats cleanup ahead of Brett Boswell. Tres Barrera with a lot of power in the 6th hole, followed by Michael Cantu. The DH is Connor McCullough. He was the hero Friday night with a 10th inning sacrifice fly for the walk-off win. And the center fielder Zane Gurwitz will bat 9th against Chad Donado, sophomore from Cypress, Texas.
Well, Donado's going to feature pretty similar stuff to what we just saw with Hollingsworth. Good fastball command, mid to upper 80s with his velocity. But both guys great competitors, and that's what separates both these pitchers when you talk to the coaches. They're just both bulldogs, and Donado brings that same character to the mound as well.
The Mountaineer defense. The infield of Fox, Munden, Corso, and Kramer. An outfield of Brad Johnson to left, Casey Huff in center, Sean Wood in right, and Cam O'Brien doing the catching. Now, you may have noticed the numbers at the bottom of that graphic about Chad Donado. In his first 4 starts, he has struck out 17 and walked 1. That walk was in his very first outing a month ago today at Clemson.
Well, you talked about pitching to contact, Dave, and what that does on a number of levels and keeping your defense on their toes in the game, and of course makes the game go quicker. But you got it. Chad Donado's got great command, and he shows it right here. First pitch swinging here with Johnson.
And that is the best possible result you can have against Ben Johnson, who's been the top hitter in the Big 12 so far this year. A pop up right back to Donado. Augie Garrido, 19th year here at Austin, 47th overall, and a winner of 5 national titles, 2 here, following 3 at Cal State Fullerton. He has completely transformed so far, you'd have to say, not just his offense, but his philosophy about offense. He's always been the king of small ball.
No, he really has. And I think Coach Randy Mazey from West Virginia talked about the transformation of this Texas Longhorn lineup this year and not playing small ball and really going after bigger innings and extending those innings. And that's exactly what Augie said to us in pregame notes. And he's really excited about this lineup because they are producing, they are starting to extend innings, and you're starting to see crazy numbers on the board for Texas, where you used to just see 1s and 2s there every inning. Now they've got some guys who can hit the ball hard and deep and out of the ballpark.
They're not just trying to drive it on the ground and take advantage of the AstroTurf. They're getting it up in the air. Into center field. On comes Huff. He won't get to that one, and it's a 1-out base hit for Shaw. Last night, Colin Shaw with his first home run of the year.
Yeah, nice catch in the bullpen, but Colin Shaw, again, when you talk about being aggressive, especially to a command-type pitcher, we've already seen that with Ben Johnson, Colin Shaw. These hitters are, again, making adjustments, and that's what excites Augie so much about this lineup. He's got a group of guys that really understand the game better. They're really making adjustments, especially early in the season. You can see it right here with Chad Donado, pitcher for West Virginia. Good command pitcher. Your hitters want to be aggressive, especially early in the game, as he's trying to establish that strike zone.
So here's C.J. Hinojosa. Off to a slow start at the plate so far with an average of 209. But last year started the same way, and he came on about this time of the year, mid-season. Junior from Spring, Texas.
Well, he had a home run Friday night, Arn, and you know, it's a testament to Augie, too, sticking to players when they are struggling a bit to let them try to figure it out. And that's what he's done with Hinojosa. He really trusts C.J. to figure out the swing and get it going, and we're starting to see signs of that.
Had a lot of atom balls. That's held the average down. But Augie Garrido has seen his usual amount of quality at bats from C.J. Shaw at first after the 1-out single here in the bottom of the first. Rubber game of this Big 12 opening 3-game series. And there goes Shaw. The throw by O'Brien is in time.
Well, great pitch out call by Randy Mazey from the West Virginia bench, and you saw the hard slide by Colin Shaw into second base. Umpire had a couple of warnings, and we're going to get a warning from the home plate umpire as well.
Jim Grumman over now toward the West Virginia bench, and a warning for Randy Mazey.
Well, second base umpire Chris Koski immediately called Colin Shaw out on that slide. As he got up, he pops up. We'll take a look at the replay here. Watch how hard the slide is, but watch at the end of the play when he pops up and trips up. The second baseman, Sean Corso, has something to say to him. And Chris Koski, the second base umpire, immediately calls him out. And Texas gets a warning early in this game.
Now the 2-1 pitch. And back to Hinojosa with now nobody on, a 2-man out in the first. Well, played second last night, led to the ejection of Augie Garrido, who thought a West Virginia runner had gone out of the base paths, wasn't called for it. Hinojosa retired in right field by Sean Wood. A hit with the minimum 3 for Donado in the bottom half of the first. Not too far from the state capitol here in Austin, Texas. On a day that feels like it's spring, whether the calendar says so or not. 63 degrees. And the wind coming in from left center field. Pretty much perfect baseball weather. As Brad Johnson leads off the second inning for the Mountaineers. Cleanup hitting left fielder at 279 on the year with a couple of home runs. 6'3", 225-pound senior from Westchester, Pennsylvania, looks at a strike.
Yeah, big weekend in Austin. I guess you have the Jazz Festival going on, and hotel rooms are booked up across the city.
Indiana Gerwitz out in center field. Back a few steps as that one carries into the wing for the first out. Yeah, South by Southwest this weekend has not held down the crowds here at Disch-Falk Field, though.
Well, that's not a good crowd. Good bolt off the bat of Johnson as well. That wind's not blowing in. That ball may be trouble up against the wall, but wind blowing in today.
So here's the catcher, Cam O'Brien. A late start to his season. This is his 7th game, his 5th start. But he hit the ground running. He's 10 for 20 with 3 doubles. That .500 average and already 6 runs batted in his first 6 games.
Well, Cam had a bit of an advantage with a major league playing father, Charlie O'Brien.
You pitched against him.
Yeah, a few times.
A few times?
Yep. Caught him when he was with the Mets. Charlie's a good guy. He was a real talker behind the plate, though. He would oftentimes offend opposing hitters with all of his yapping.
3-1 pitch fought off, and it's popped up on the left side of the infield for C.J. Hinojosa. And out number 2. So O'Brien sees the average drop below 500. And that brings up the DH, Kyle Davis. A freshman from Cincinnati off to a .367 start. On the outside corner for strike 1. Kyle Davis, a very pleasant surprise as a freshman. He's been one of their top 2 hitters, along with Munden coming into conference play. And down 0-2.
Good fastball there by Hollingsworth, outside corner. And Skip Johnson talked about his ability to dial it up when he needs to. That ball looked like it was at least upper 80s.
Two pitches hammered through the hole. And a 2-out single for Davis. Keep the West Virginia second alive and bring up Sean Wood.
Yeah, nice job of hitting here by Kyle Davis. You'll see it gets a breaking ball up in the zone, not where Hollingsworth wanted it to land. So location was bad here, but you can see Davis does a great job. It's ball's hanging in the strike zone, does a great job of staying behind it and drilling that ball into left field. That's what good hitters do with bad breaking balls.
So here's Wood. And a hard hit ball right at Marlowe. For out number 3. Ahead of the man left. To the bottom of the second. Scoreless here in Austin. Nothing into the bottom of the second. In the middle of the order for the Longhorns against Chad Donado. Brooks Marlowe to be followed by Brett Boswell and Tres Barrera. Marlowe, a senior from Giddings, Texas. The cleanup spot. He's homered 3 times with a .274 average. Tremendous defensive infielder. A Rawlings Gold Glove winner, in fact, last year at second base.
And Marlowe, a very patient hitter. He was batting leadoff last year for the Longhorns and now moved down the lineup here at number 4 hole. He's actually got quite a bit of power as well.
This one high into the air in right center field, and Casey Huff drifts over for the out. So far, other than the caught stealing by Shaw, all the outs have been in the air.
Yeah, we talked about that too, Barn. It's interesting that the Longhorns have gone from this small ball team that you talked about before the game to now sitting back and trying to drive the ball. And I think of the 31 outs that were recorded on Friday night 25 were fly balls by the Longhorn lineup. Randy Mazey pointed that out to say, boy, this lineup has really changed quite a bit for Texas.
That's just astounding, that ratio.
It really is. When you think about the unintended consequences of this small seam ball, we're going to talk about that more later in the broadcast, but teams have now changed their entire hitting philosophy because of a change in the baseball.
Ball is carrying this year. As Donado gets that one right by Brett Boswell, a .264 hitter. A redshirt freshman from Rockwall, Texas. A medical redshirt last year with a wrist injury for Boswell. And this one in the air as well, chased into foul territory and out of play.
Well, Donado really flashing some good velocity here early in the game, and it's one thing that pitching coach for West Virginia has talked about. Derek Matlock said, you know, Donado's not a fastball pitcher, but he tends to throw more fastballs early in the game. He'll come to rely more upon that breaking ball later on. He's got a good curveball. We haven't seen it much yet, but Texas hitter's behind on his fastball.
Seeing the command that we expected to see with that ratio of 17 strikeouts to 1 walk. He has not yet gone to a 3-ball count against anybody.
Yeah, both pitchers really pounding the strike zone here early on.
And again fouled off. Donado's been their regular Sunday starter. Last Sunday beat East Tennessee State with 7 innings, allowing 1 run and a 13-4 victory. 2 weeks ago, Tough Luck lost 2-1 to Illinois. 8 innings, allowed 2 unearned runs on just 4 hits. Another 2-2 offering, and this fastball is a little bit inside. Here is his first 3-ball count, 3-2.
Well, Donado stuck with that fastball through the entire sequence here with Boswell. Imagine he'll do it again here, 3-2.
Ripped for a base hit, headed for the alley in left center field, but Johnson is able to get over there and hold Boswell to a 1-out single.
Well, Boswell finally gets a fastball out over the plate. You can see Donado just pounding the inside part of the strike zone. This time he goes away, ball's up in the zone. Boswell makes him pay for it. Good swing by Brett Boswell.
A 1-out single in each of the first 2 innings for Texas, and that brings up the always dangerous Tres Barrera. First base today. Comes in at 309 with 4 homers, 13 runs batted in.
Barrera sees Donado's best breaking ball of the day. First pitch there. Nice break. Downward motion on that curveball.
Breaking ball stays high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Barrera, a sophomore from Eagle Pass in the Rio Grande Valley. Made some offensive strides since his freshman year. He takes the fastball. Seeing more pitches. Using the whole field. And he says splitting time between catcher and first is helping him because his legs and knees are fresher. Not having to be behind the plate every game.
And you can see Donado really pitched him careful with that fastball, trying to keep the ball down in the zone. We saw a fastball last year delivered by a Kansas State pitcher to Barrera that was hit about 450 dead center last year. And Barrera's got that kind of pop. So you'll see Donado really focusing on keeping fastballs down in the zone, but really trying to get Barrera out with that breaking ball.
Through the hole and a base hit for Barrera. And the Longhorns with 1 out have 2 on for Michael Cantu. This Barrera on base every game so far this year. So Michael Cantu now with a .345 average and 12 runs batted in. A freshman out of Corpus Christi, who is impressive in just about every way you can measure a freshman.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Barn, this really is an impressive young man, and I think he's going to be up for Freshman of the Year honors in Big 12. He is having a great start. Very well put together player. Big, 6'5", 230 pounds, but he's very athletic.
Thriving in these situations coming into this series. 360 with runners on base, 412 average with runners in scoring position, where Boswell is at the moment.
You know, oftentimes you'll see freshmen come into the league, especially in the Big 12 conference, a great power baseball conference. It takes a little while to get attuned to this level of play, the speed of play. Not for Cantu. He's handled it extremely well. Very, very impressive young freshman to watch.
Breaking ball on the outside corner. And it's 1-2.
Longhorn bench thought it might have been down in the zone. Looks like it was caught low. And again, a breaking ball, a good break by Donado. Umpire Jim Garman thought it caught the bottom of the strike zone.
And Garman says that was a little bit high. It's 2-2. So Longhorns working some counts here in the second inning against Chad Donado. Last two batters had good results. But the breaking ball gets Cantu looking for out number 2. First strikeout of the day for Chad Donado.
Boy, that's a good one here. We'll take another look at it, but we talked about the effect of Donado's breaking ball on hitters. And when you see a 3-2 breaking ball like that, that's just a hammer. Strike 3. Cantu gets locked up on that one, but Donado flashing that great curveball that Derek Matlock showed and talked about before the game here, that he would show that.
So with 2 outs, the DH, Connor McCullough, goes after the first pitch, unassisted for Jackson Kramer, and nothing in the second inning threat for the Longhorns. Into the third here in Austin and scoreless in the rubber game of the Big 12 opening 3-game series between the Mountaineers and the Longhorns. The collegiate baseball rankings led by a Big 12 power TCU, followed by LSU, Virginia, A&M, Florida, also in the top 25 out of the Big 12. 15 Texas Tech, number 17 the Longhorns this week, and Oklahoma State checks in at number 23.
Well, we were in for a doozy of a conference schedule this year. I'm telling you, Dave, there's a lot of great teams in Big 12 play, and we're going to see a couple of them next weekend as well. The Horned Frogs of TCU off to a great start. 2 W's over Baylor last couple of days.
Will any of their pitchers have an ERA over 2 this year?
Yeah, right.
At any point.
Well, that was kind of fun to watch last year. The mastery of the TCU starting 3, but Preston Morrison back, Tyler Alexander back. They lost Finnegan, who obviously ended up in the big leagues pitching in the World Series last season for the Kansas City Royals. But you're right, they have got quite a pitching staff, and probably the best closer in all of baseball right now, maybe even the major leagues, Riley Farrell.
He may throw harder than anybody, even up to and including major leaguers. 2-2 pitch to Sean Corso, and a full count as the second baseman leads off the West Virginia third. 227 on the year. He'll be followed by K.C. Huff, and then back to Taylor Munden at the top of the order. Right at Hinojosa at short for the first out. And that brings up Huff.
Again, both pitchers, as we've talked about early in the game here, have been in the strike zone. Great command with their fastballs. You're seeing the hitters on both sides swing early in the count, and that's oftentimes what you'll see with pitchers who are in control of that strike zone the way these 2 pitchers are, Hollingsworth and Donado.
K.C. Huff has 2 walks on the season. The second walk won the game yesterday in the 10th inning. It was a game with the bases loaded. West Virginia led that game yesterday 6-0 into the bottom of the third. Texas tied it. Had some chances to win it in 9 before falling 7-6 and 10.
Well, 2 great one-run games as we expected coming into this series. West Virginia and Texas have had 2 great series in the past. We expected the same here. We've gotten 2 of them.
Chad Hollingsworth 2-2 pitch is right at the third baseman Brett Boswell for out number 2. Hollingsworth keeping the Mountaineers on the ground so far, not much in the air. In the top half of the 10th inning last night, the bat for Huff against Ty Culberth, trying to win the closer role for the Longhorns this year. The only run the Mountaineers scored after the 3rd inning was the decisive one. So the top of the order again, and Taylor Munden, who had a leadoff single to be in the game. Chad Hollingsworth beat Minnesota February 21st, 6 1/3 scoreless innings. 10 days ago, his loss, that was at Stanford. In 5 innings, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. And Mike, down from Louisville, Texas. Hit well to left field. Johnson is back in front of the wall to make the catch for out number 3. Taylor almost gave Dad a thrill. But the Mountaineers go in order in the 3rd. Still 0-0 in Austin. Fish Falk Field, Dave Barnett and Pat Combs. And West Virginia and Texas trying to get something across here as we reach the bottom of the 3rd inning, the rubber game of this Big 12 Conference season opening 3-game series. Chad Donado has allowed 3 hits but worked around them in each of the first 2. And here's Zane Gerwitz, sophomore center fielder from San Antonio, to begin the Longhorn 3rd. Gerwitz, as a freshman, was the 3rd baseman with a few scattered starts in left and right last year. Defensively, a seamless transition to center this year.
Well, what a great athlete to make a move from 3rd base to center field. You don't see that very often.
And to his opposite number, Casey Huth for the first out of the 3rd. Donado retired Johnson on the first pitch of the game on a pop-up handled by Donado in front of the plate. And again, he'll take care of Johnson, swinging on the first pitch again.
Well, just maybe West Virginia has started to figure out Ben Johnson, at least in the 3rd game of the series. Both fastballs riding hard in on Johnson's hands, and Johnson being aggressive like he is. He's an aggressive hitter, but going after 2 pitches that tied him up pretty well in the inside corner.
So the Longhorn hitting .435 at the beginning of the game, 0 for 2. 2 outs here in the 3rd. Here's Shaw, who singled on an 0-2 pitch his first trip and then was caught stealing. Senior from here in Austin.
Well, good hard cut on that fastball there. Colin Shaw got a fastball up just a little bit inside. If it was out over the plate, might have been able to do something with it. But yeah, Donado is showing you great fastball command here, working up in the count on most hitters.
One and 2 to Shaw. Was very happy Shaw decided to return for his senior year. He has had mostly an outstanding year in the field, though committed a 2-base error in right yesterday. Two key early runs to score for the Mountaineers. Very much out of character for Colin. Start of the day at 299, above 300 this at bat, and the breaking ball is taken for ball strike 3. The second strikeout for Donado, and the first time he gets the Longhorns 1, 2, 3. Lee Buckler was scoreless headed to the 4th in Austin. The award winners in the Big 12 this past week. Look at the week. Sheldon Noisy of Oklahoma had 3 homers, 10 driven in, 688 in 4 games. Alex Young of TCU, left-hander junior, was the pitcher of the year, or of the week, with 12 strikeouts and only 1 walk in 2 appearances. And the newcomer of the week, Tyler Moore from K-State.
Now, how about Sheldon Noisy from Fossil Ridge, just outside of Keller, Texas? I think he had a season in a week.
For a lot of guys, that's a season.
Especially last season when we had those dead balls.
First ball hitting is Justin Fox, who grounded into a 4-6-3 double play after the leadoff hit in the first by Taylor Munden. Justin Fox, the only remaining member of the team prior to the Randy Mazey regime. Maybe their most improved hitter this year. Squares that one the other way. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Fox always well known for his defense. You take he and Boswell with the University of Texas, and 2 of the best defensive third basemen in the country on the same ball field today.
Fox has been error-free for 2+ seasons at third base.
That's incredible. No errors for a third baseman in a 20-game stretch is incredible, much less 2 years.
Back to Hollingsworth, briefly knocked off his feet, but recovers for the first out of the 4th inning.
Well, nice recovery by Hollingsworth. Looks like he caught his spike on the mound after making a bit of a jump and a catch. Yeah, his foot came down in the hole down at the bottom of the mound there, and nice recovery to get up and plenty of time to make the throw to first base.
Jackson Kramer now. He grounded to second to end the first inning.
You can see the mound there is the only dirt located on this field at Dish Falk. Of course, everything else is turf. You might look at the brown spots around the bags and think that would be a light colored dirt, but it's indeed turf as well.
One of the few remaining AstroTurf fields in college baseball, and really in baseball, college or major league.
Yeah, this is that old field turf. When you get really close to it, you can actually see the rubber pellets that they put into the surface to make the playing surface softer, cut down on injuries. But you have to alter your playing style here too, because when you slide on this turf, you have extended slides. You really take off, so you'll see players actually start their slides earlier as they approach these bases.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Kramer. And a diving attempt by Brooks Marlowe, but it gets underneath his glove and on out to right field, and Kramer has a 1-out base hit.
Well, good job of hitting there by Kramer, but Hollingsworth made a great pitch, fastball away, did exactly what he wanted to do, and Kramer rolled over on it. Just enough into the hole between second and first to get that base hit.
It's the 3rd of the day, and there's the 4th hit of the day as Brad Johnson sends Kramer to second with 1 out here in the 4th.
That was an interesting play here because C.J. Hinojosa, the shortstop for Texas, had started making a motion towards second base like Kramer was stealing. Took him completely out of position, and sure enough, that's exactly where Brad Johnson hits the ball. You'll see here Hinojosa making the move towards second. Johnson hits it right in the hole that Hinojosa had vacated. That counts as a base hit.
If he stays put, that may be a double play.
That's exactly right. The ball was hit hard enough, and Hinojosa either catches that ball on the line or a short hop, and very well could have been double play.
That, if it had been fielded cleanly by Hollingsworth, may have been too. And as it is, he forces Barrera to make the stretch to get the out at first base, as Kramer and Johnson both in scoring position now.
Well, we'll check the replay here. That sounded like it hit all meat. Hit Hollingsworth in the back of his leg, but stunned him. Hollingsworth almost throws it away, and had it not been for Trace Barrera making a nice diving stab and actually keeping his foot on the bag. Great play by Barrera at first base. But Hollingsworth definitely stung on that one. And the coaches for Texas, Skip Johnson, out there checking on him.
Well, he's smiling about it, so.
Yeah, that's going to be about a 3 or 4 seam mark on his leg. Maybe a 7 or 8 seamer if he took it a direct hit. It didn't sound like it hit bone. When it hits bone, you have a different sound. It sounded like it hit all meat. The back of his leg there, maybe caught his hamstring or maybe somewhere a little bit higher, but
maybe deflected partially by his glove, although that's hard to tell.
I didn't hear any deflection. That sounded like a direct hit. And of course, that ball was just blazing back at him by O'Brien. He looks like he's okay. His mechanics look smooth, and he is giving Coach Johnson the nod. He's ready to go.
All right, well, let's listen. See if you can identify the source of the contact, Pat. That sounded like leg.
That was leg.
That was leg.
That was all muscle. Yeah, so that's going to be a few ice bags after the game, but he should be able to get through it. The only thing you worry about now is on the bench in between innings that muscle doesn't tighten up on him and cause some problems further in the game.
Well, 2 outs. And the first pitch is high to the DH, Kyle Davis, who singled his first trip. Jackson Kramer at third, Brad Johnson at second. First inning that Hollingsworth has allowed more than 1 base runner. And behind Davis now 2-0. Hollingsworth getting mostly ground ball outs. And another one here, as that one is handled by Brett Boswell. Hollingsworth fights off the shot back at him and leaves 2 on in the 4th. Randy Mazey has seen a pitcher's duel between his sophomore from Cypress, Texas, Chad Donado, and the junior from Waco, Chad Hollingsworth. As we move to the bottom half of the 4th, in the meat of the order for Augie Garrido up, Hinojosa, Marlowe, and Boswell, 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Donado is retired 5 straight after he allowed 2 one-out singles in the second to Boswell and Tres Barrera. With a couple of strikeouts mixed in. As usual, he has not walked a man. That last happened a month ago today. Hinojosa flied to right to end the first and takes inside.
Randy Mays had done such a great job at West Virginia. Of course, we talked about him coming from the TCU coaching staff a few seasons ago. This is his 3rd season here with the Mountaineers, and recruiting very well in Texas. Donado from Cypress Woods, just outside of Houston. Number of players from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but Mazey with those ties to Texas and Derek Matlock as pitching coach, they've recruited very well here.
Hinojosa from Spring, also in the Houston area. Out of 37 total on the roster, 15 of those from Texas, 4 from one Dallas suburb, Flower Mound. That's more than the entire state of West Virginia.
Yeah, you think they have an inside deal going on with Flower Mound. They sure do. Derek Matlock, the pitching coach, was actually the head baseball coach at Flower Mound back from '99 to '04. So he has retained some relationships down there in that area, and I'm sure coached some of those youngsters when they were, just coming up through grade school. And Probably kept the names in his back pocket.
Smart to do so. Donado's 1-2 pitch. Well, I remember what the former West Virginia football coach Don Nehlen said about when he was flying in, taking the job, and he's looking out the window of the plane, and he says, "This is a beautiful state. All I see are hills and trees. I don't see any houses. Who am I going to recruit? It's not a big population to draw from here."
Well, and Randy Mazie talked about trying to recruit players from West Virginia, Pennsylvania area. He said, it's just there's not as many guys here. We got to go to Texas. And of course, really the big recruiting thing he tells these players here is, hey, if you're not going to get recruited by the big schools in Texas, we'd love to have you entertain West Virginia because you're going to stay in the Big 12.
In the air to right, and over toward the line is Wood, who runs out of room. Yeah, I mean, for all the college baseball talent that this state produces, they can't all come here or go to TCU or Baylor or Texas Tech, and so it's just like in football. They spread out around the country. West Virginia might as well take their share.
Well, that's exactly right, but you are seeing the quality of players. It's not like Mazie and Matlock at West Virginia are getting these second-tier guys. These are top-quality players. They are going in and competing and winning some of these guys to West Virginia away from Texas and the TCU. So they're doing a great job recruiting here, and you have to do a good sales pitch to get those kids to move that far north to play baseball.
In the air, and a sky-high pop-up handled by Sean Corso. Friday night, the first game of this series, Brooks Marlowe went deep into the Longhorn bullpen to his brother. How about that? As Ty Marlowe made the catch on Brooks' third homer of the year.
Well, I hope he at least gave the ball to Brooks.
I bet he didn't. Finders keepers. Possession 9/10 of the law.
Right. that could be a little brotherly brawl there, fighting over the baseball.
Brooks fly to center his first time up. Donado really settling in after the back-to-back singles in the second. The only Texas threat so far in this pitcher's duel.
Well, if there's a sequence to be had in how Donado's approaching the Texas hitters, it would be that fastballs in. He's really pounding the fastball in on the strike zone, breaking balls down, breaking balls away, so soft stuff away. That seems to be the early sequence, and so far it's worked. Texas has not made the adjustment yet.
2-0 pitch right at the first baseman, and Jackson Kramer has out number 2. So 7 in a row have been set down by Chad Donado. That brings up Boswell, who singled on a 3-2 pitch in the second. Pereira followed that with a single, but then Donado was able to get Michael Cantu looking at a curve, and Connor McCullough to ground to first. Two balls, no strikes. Mazie and talk earlier this week talked about big leaps in poise and maturity that he's seen from Donado's freshman year to this year. He's the only returning member of the pitching staff that threw more than 3 innings coming into this season. Diving stab by Kramer, who shovels to Donado to retire Boswell, robbed of his second hit. And the second straight inning, Donado gets the Longhorns in order. We'll do with Augie Garrido when we come back to Austin. Scoreless into the 5th, and we're joined by the Longhorns' Augie Garrido, and scoring is up in college baseball this year, but not today. This pitcher's duel. Was there any question whether your pitcher, Chad Hollingsworth, could come back after they shot up the middle last inning?
Not really. He took a pretty hard hit, but he's a pretty tough guy.
Coach Pat Combs here. You sounded really excited when we talked to you earlier in the week about your offense, and what's happening here at the University of Texas. You guys used to always play small ball. Now you're scoring a bunch of runs. What's happening here?
Well, Tommy Nicholson and Ryan Russ are responsible for all that. So, and some good recruiting by Skip Johnson and Tommy Nicholson. So that's where that all comes from.
Augie, we as always appreciate the visit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Wood, Sean Corso, Casey Huff, bottom third of the order against Hollingsworth here, the top half of the fifth inning. No runs on 4 hits, no errors for the Mountaineers, no runs on 3 hits, and no errors for the Longhorns. I think Augie was getting a little modesty across.
He was. He's super excited about what's happening, and this lineup has made some great adjustments. And it is a transformation in this lineup with the way that they're playing. The style of baseball that most Texas fans are used to seeing is get a guy on, bunt him over, and try to get a hit, base hit, get him in, score 1 run, 2 runs. But they're scoring runs in bunches now.
And this one is well hit and flagged down by Zane Gurwitz in front of the track in right center field. Gurwitz getting good jumps. The former third baseman is a freshman.
That's exactly what I was going to say there, Barney. It's incredible. Look at the athleticism of Zane Gurwitz here as he just chases that ball down, makes it look so easy. It just tells you just a testament again to what kind of player he is, moving from third base to center field and making catches look that simple.
Strike 1 to Corso. Off the bat, that looked like trouble.
It did. It looked like it had gap written all over it. And Gurwitz, as you said, got a great jump on the ball. That's always the key to playing center field. He saw the ball off the bat, made the jump really quick, got to that gap, and again, got there with plenty of time.
Corso trying to lay one down. No balls and 2 strikes. Sean grounded to short his first time up. Defensive transition been very smooth for Gurwitz. Offensively, he's been victimized early in the year by a lot of atom balls. They were the top hitters last year. They expect to still come around this year. And this one will be out of play on the right field line. Sean Corso, redshirt freshman from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Casey Huff, the number 9 hitter, will be next.
You know, I think Skip Johnson, the pitching coach at University of Texas, was sandbagging a little bit with Hollingsworth, saying, you know, his fastball is only 84 to 88. I've seen a few fastballs that easily low 90s.
Corso flies out to Shaw. And Hollingsworth has retired 4 straight after the two singles with 1 out in the 4th inning.
You know, he was 92 to 94 last year with his velocity, Hollingsworth was, and that was late in the season last year when his arm was really feeling pretty good, and you're starting to see flashes of that now, some arm strength here.
First ball hitting, Huff flies out to Gurwitz, who handles 2 of the 3 outs and a 1-2-3 fifth. We'll talk with Randy Macy when we come back to Austin. Into the bottom of the 5th, and we're joined by Randy Macy, who was in his 3rd year running the Mountaineers. And boy, you had, Randy, a total of 3 returning innings pitched from last year's team, and those were from Chad Donado. And talk about how sharp he has been so far today.
Yeah, he's been really good. It's not really a secret. He's a good pitcher, and he mixes all 3 of his pitches. He's doing a really good job so far.
Randy, we've talked quite a bit about your ability to recruit in Texas. Can you give us some insight? You know, how are you doing so well? You've got 15 players on the roster, but a lot of great key players for your lineup here.
Yeah, we really do. We didn't do that by design. We tried to recruit those northern kids, but they don't know the Big 12 conference like the Texas kids do. So these kids down here, if they can't go to Texas, they don't mind playing against them, I guess.
Randy, we appreciate the visit.
All right, thanks, guys.
Very much.
Thank you.
Some Mountaineer fans on hand here at Dishfog Field. Full 62 degree.
Yeah, they want to get out of the cold.
Afternoon.
Now, you talk about some of the great young coaches in the Big 12 now, and it's, you know, Randy Mazy's one of them. Tim Tadlock at Texas Tech taking his team to the World Series last year. You got Hughes up at Oklahoma now. There's great young coaches to go along with these veterans like Augie Garrido and the Steve Smiths at Baylor and the Jim Schlossnagels at TCU, but great coaching in the Big 12 Conference.
This would be a coup to open the season here at Dish Falk and win 2 out of 3 for the Mountaineers. Tres Barrera singled his first time up, and that was back in the second inning, and he was the last base runner Chad Donado allowed, as he was retired 8 in a row since. Only 1 ball out of the infield. High pop up into foul territory goes Kramer. This game is not going in the direction of college baseball offense, which back in 2011, you see the effects of rule changes that featured powered down bats and raised seams on the baseball, and they have flattened out the seams this year. The results right there.
That's exactly right. The numbers speak for themselves, Barney. You're seeing that outside of today's ball game, 0-0 here, but the run production has been up. The game is really changing too. The lineups, the coaches are having to make adjustments with the lineups now. They're not playing small ball anymore, going for bunts and things like that. Bunts are down 20% this year in college baseball. So you're seeing the output. Everything's changing here. Home plate umpire Jim Garman just took one in the head here.
And both trainers come out of their respective dugouts to check Jim Garman, who took that foul ball off the bat of Michael Cantu right on the face mask.
Yeah, the initial hit, I mean, it looked pretty bad when it knocks the mask off of the umpire. I mean, you know, it was just a direct hit. You hope it was a little bit lower on the mask and not up high on his forehead, but he still looks a little bit stunned here.
Well, nice to hear an umpire get that kind of ovation. Garman shakes it off. Here's what happened on the 1-0 pitch to Cantu.
Yeah, here's a direct shot here. You'll see it knock the face mask totally off of Jim's head. Yeah, that's a direct shot right to the top of the face mask, and you can see exactly why. When a ball's thrown at 90 miles an hour, and that bat didn't do too much to slow it down. You can only imagine. So good to see Garman back on his feet and staying in the game, and he's ready to go here.
Still with some spring in his step.
Yeah, that's a serious wake-up call.
Game 2 back in. 1-1 pitch from Donado. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Augie Garrido, back to the change with the seams in the baseball and the fact that it's carrying and scoring is up, and Augie Garrido makes a point in favor of that rule change from last year. It's the 1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And he said last year the home run was basically taken out of play. If you had a 9th inning and a close game and you got a man on, normally you'd think, well, a home run can win it here, and that was virtually impossible last year until the change in the baseball this year brought the home run on good swings that, you know, deserve a good result. You see that the rate is more than double the Longhorns and the long ball this year.
That's exactly right, Barn. And it did. It changed the game entirely. It changes the way you pitch. It changes the situational parts of the game, especially late in the game in terms of pitcher matchups and hitter matchups. It just transformed the whole game, and it got worse and worse as it went. Fans, I think, said enough about, hey, we got to bring some more excitement back into the game and have the run production back up. And fans do come. They want to see an occasional home run or two.
Friday night, C.J. Hinojosa drove one out to left barely. Last year, that is probably
an out
in front of the warning track.
That's exactly right, Barn. That's an out last year. That ball scraped the back of the fence. Of course, Hinojosa put a good swing on it, but the ball was high enough. It would not have gone out last year with a higher seam ball. So that's exactly what we're talking about, and it did. It changed the game. And it also changes the way you recruit now, because no longer you maybe going to go after that smaller type player who maybe has as good athleticism. Maybe you opt for the bigger guy that can hit the ball in the ballpark. So in all phases of baseball here in the college game, it has changed because of the change of a baseball.
After the perspective, there was too much offense for a long time. I mean, games were 21-14, and routine fly balls were carrying out before the bats were powered down, and that led to the change in the baseball itself as McCullough goes down on strikes. 1, 2, 3. Pat conducted a highly scientific experiment on this topic, which we will show you when we come back to Austin. Well, today, notwithstanding, home runs up by nearly a third early on in college baseball, and Professor Combs and his crack team of researchers conducted this experiment this week using a pitching machine and comparing the old baseball with the raised seams and the new flat seam baseballs this year. Why aren't you in your white lab coat?
Right. Well, you know, you hear that the ball's going further. We wanted to test it and find out, so I took my technician, Bob Steinfeld, out to the South Lake Carroll ball field, and we did an experiment. We tucked the balls into the pitching machine, the old ball with the high seams, the new ball with the low seams, and as you can see, the experiment worked. We were able to prove that the low seam ball does indeed travel further. We put the pitching machine on about 95 to simulate a ball coming off a batter's bat, a hitter's bat, and of course our experiment concluded that yes, it is, that the ball this year is traveling further.
1-1 to Taylor Munden, who was 1 for 2. So the first set of results were on line drives. The second one was on the fly balls, and the fly balls were really carrying further. They were,
and we had South Lake players Kyle Sweeney, Luke Jeter out there helping us catch those balls and just simply placing them down where they landed. So that was as scientific as we got, but we stepped it off, measured it, and of course you saw the findings there. About on average about 35 feet further with the fly ball, which, as you can tell with C.J. Hinojosa's home run, made the difference the other night.
Taylor Munden, who has gone deep 5 times this year, with the 3-1 pitch, and now full up. Chad Hollingsworth retired 5 straight. This will be chased toward the line by Colin Shaw, and he can't quite get there as he hangs up on the wall over there. Heavily padded, thank goodness.
Yeah, great effort there by Colin Shaw in right field. That could have been a disaster without that padding there. He might have been joining Chad Hollingsworth at the trainer's table after that one, but all-out effort, just missed the tip of his glove, and you can see the padding there protecting him up against that fence. Great assist by the Longhorn fan in the bullpen there.
And there is a leadoff walk, the first walk issued by either pitcher today. So this was the line drive results.
Yeah, so we simulated the ball, just a line drive off the bat. You can see 28.5 feet further. We just measured off the balls, took an average. And here's the balls on a fly ball, a pop-up to the outfield. And you can see as we were trying to get the balls close to the fence to simulate what a home run may look like with that new ball. And, of course, 35 feet further, which when you talk to most coaches, they had told us that they thought the ball was traveling 20 to 30 feet. We were able to show you 28 to 35 feet further. So this new low-seam baseball will indeed change the game.
Pickoff gets away, and trotting down to second base is Taylor Munden, who is 6 out of 7 stealing so far this year. So Chad Hollingsworth very mindful of that, but the error moves him to scoring position.
Yeah, Hollingsworth trying to hold him close there, but out of the non-set position tries to make the throw, which rarely works, but again trying to keep his eyes on Munden at first. The ball just gets away.
After Munden's leadoff single back in the first, he got Justin Fox to ground into a 4-6-3 double play, and he bounced to the mound last time up, so 0 for 2 from Fox. Only scoring chance previous to right now was in the 4th for the Mountaineers, where they had runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out.
Skip Johnson pitching coach for Texas, out to talk to Hollingsworth, really just to settle him down here. There's no action in the Texas bullpen. Pitch count is low. Both pitchers have really been efficient today, so just a chance to settle Hollingsworth down. And of course, a key play in the game here, top of the 6th inning, man on second, no outs, with Fox looking like he's going to squirt a bunt for West Virginia. Texas probably setting up their defense here, trying to make sure everybody understands which play they're running, and Hollingsworth to settle down and throw strikes.
Activity for the first time in the Longhorn bullpen, with Kirby Bello getting to throw. Skip Johnson, 9th year as a pitching coach here in Austin. He's coached 7 All-Americas, staffs that have been in the top 10 nationally in earned run average 6 times in his first 8 years, and staff ERAs under 3 5 of the last 6 years.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's one of the best pitching coaches in the country right now, college baseball, and seeing a number of professional players coming around.
Bunt is popped up, but unable to get there for the out is Boswell, who was charging. And it's 1-1.
So Texas had third baseman Brett Boswell charging on that bunt play. Is he anticipating the sacrifice? And again, ball popped up. Boswell not quite able to get to it. Again, anticipate Fox trying to lay down a bunt here.
Popped up and making the catch, going down to his knees to do so is Cantu for the out.
Well, again, Michael Cantu, at 6'5" catcher, showing his athleticism here, bouncing back off the plate, getting over and making a sliding catch. Shows you what type of player Cantu is, and to get out of that crouch as quickly as he did and get over and make that catch. Again, he didn't have a great feel for it. You could see him reach back down for the ball, but there it was in his glove. Out number 1.
It brings up Kramer, who's grounded to second and singled, and he pops the first pitch up on the left side for Boswell in fair territory. There's 2 quick, big outs for Hollingsworth.
You know, Hollingsworth buckling down here, making great pitches, actually leaving Munden there at second base with no outs to begin the inning. And 2 quick outs here on pop-ups right around home plate. So again, Hollingsworth buckling down, making great pitches when he needs to.
So here's Brad Johnson, the left fielder, who has flied to center and singled. Takes just away. Johnson, who really kicked in middle of last year's Big 12 season, opened. He had a 5-hit game in his first start against Oklahoma and stayed in the lineup from that point on. Multi-position player. Hollingsworth blows strike 1 right by him.
Well, a good fastball again. Hollingsworth flashing a hard fastball up in the zone at times, and there he gets Johnson swinging. I thought that might be an opportunity here with first base open to walk Johnson, but they're pitching to him.
Chopped to Brett Boswell, and Hollingsworth works around his own mistakes. Leadoff walk at his throwing error, trying to pick Munden off. He leaves him at second. The dueling Chads have taken this double shutout into the bottom of the 6th inning now, with Donado and Hollingsworth matching each other out for out. Donado with 3 strikeouts, still as usual, has only walked 1 batter all season, none today.
Well, great command here. We talked about his sharpness on his breaking ball, that being his best pitch. 2 punch outs of the breaking ball, then the fastball inside. And that has been Donado's sequence. That has worked for him all day today, pounding those fastballs inside on the hands of the UT hitters, working that breaking ball, showing great command with both pitches.
Zane Gerwitz to lead off the Longhorn. 6th inning with a drive past the diving Sean Corso to lead off single. The first base runner for the Longhorns since the 2nd inning.
No, great job
in
of
a
hitting.
row Donato had set down.
Yeah, great job of hitting by Gerwitz here too. To be aggressive again, getting that early fastball in the zone, and You know, we talked about Gerwitz early in the season really struggling with hitting the ball hard and not having much to show for it. And he really started to second guess himself, and Coach Garrido said, son, you just keep hitting the ball hard. It'll start to fall for you. Great example right here to start the bottom of the 6th inning.
Speed on the base paths with one out for the top of the order, Ben Johnson. It was popped to Donado and bounced to Donado and lays down a bunt here, and a good one as O'Brien has only the play at first. Second sacrifice of the season for Ben Johnson, the top hitter of the Big 12, coming into conference play.
Well, there's that good old Texas Longhorn small ball. We finally see it here in the 6th inning, but great situation to do it. Get the leadoff man on. Your number 1 hitter, Ben Johnson, lays down a perfect bunt. Moves Gerwitz over to second. Now Texas threats.
So with Gerwitz in scoring position, here's Colin Shaw. He singled his first time up, then was caught trying to steal. Last time up, caught looking. The Longhorns, most of the day, have been pretty aggressive, going after Donado early in the count. Why wouldn't you with his control?
Well, exactly right. Colin Shaw, not a good pitch to swing on there, but Shaw got rung up on a tough pitch last at bat. A good breaking ball. He's looking to start early here, not try to get down 2 strikes in this situation.
Toward the left field corner and a fair ball. Gerwitz around third to score. Shaw has an RBI double, and the Longhorns have a 1-0 lead.
Well, you look for that big hit, especially late in games. And who's that guy in the lineup that's going to produce it for you? Colin Shaw having a frustrating day so far. Had been warned a couple of times by umpires on calls. It gets a fastball up in the zone, drives it to left field. RBI single. Great swing put on it by Colin Shaw.
18th run batted into the year. Shaw 2 for 3, 1-0 Texas. His 13th double already, and here is Hinojosa, who has fly to right and popped to second. Shaw leading the nation in doubles and leading the Longhorns in runs batted in.
You know, Barn, we talked to Coach Augie Garrido early in the week about some of the constraints that his team has faced, and he said, you know, we're really trying to work on mental toughness with our guys, and that's a great example. Colin Shaw gets warned after sliding hard into second base in the 1st inning, gets warned again at home plate after taking a called 3rd strike, comes up in this situation, produces with a double. Again, that's the mental toughness that Augie Garrido is looking for in his players.
No balls and 2 strikes to Hinojosa. Augie Garrido tends to talk more about the mental part of the game than he does the mechanics. Not that he discounts the mechanics, but we're concerned that everybody has the right mindset.
Well, that's exactly right. You get to this level, you've probably got the physical tools to play Big 12 baseball. But how do you get better as a ball player? And you do it with the mental, emotional part of the game, which a lot of players lack. They don't have the proper training. They're not allowed to fail in certain situations. And so Augie really takes to heart what it means to train up a player and that mental side of the game. And again, just a great example of it here with Colin Shaw here in the bottom of the 6th inning, keeping himself in this ball game to deliver a big RBI.
Yeah, the 1-2 breaking ball. Hinojosa looks at strike 3. 4th strikeout. 3rd time for Donado to get a Longhorn looking. There's out number 2.
Well, a great job by Chad Donado to come back and make great pitches to the middle of this Longhorn lineup and get Hinojosa looking on a good breaking ball. You give up the RBI double. Your job now as a pitcher is to keep your team in the game. In a close game like this, a 1-run game, he's got to produce great pitches, and he did right there.
The cleanup hitter Marlowe is 0 for 2. He's flied to center and grounded to first. Donado misses with the breaking ball. So the leadoff single by the number 9 hitter, the struggling Gerwitz, followed by the Johnson sacrifice and the opposite field double into the corner by Shaw. Throwback for a fairly close play at second base. This entire series has been nothing but 1-run games. 10 inning games won by Texas 4-3 on Friday night. West Virginia 7-6 yesterday. Two balls and no strikes. A West Virginia team full of Texas players who grew up with an ambition to play at Dish Falk Field. And more often than not in their first 2 years in the Big 12, Randy Mazie has defeated Augie Garrido in their head-to-head matchups, giving them all they want in this conference season opening 3-game series this weekend. Two-0 pitches down the middle.
Well, situation here too. You got first base open. Brooks Marlowe hitting here, left-hander against a right-hander. You can bet that Donado is going to try to make quality pitches to get him out, but he's not going to give in here. He's not going to give Marlowe something good over the plate. He's got Brett Boswell, right-handed hitter, coming up after Marlowe. So we'll see how he handles Marlowe here with this 2-1 pitch.
Checker Shaw at second. And 2 balls and 2 strikes. So first base coach Ryan Russ scrambling a bit out of the way.
Donado's best pitch has been that breaking ball here. I would expect we would see a breaking ball, try to maybe backdoor one here to Marlowe in this situation.
Thinking right with him, and a base hit falls in center field. Here comes Shaw, and it's 2-0 Texas.
Now, great job of hitting by Brooks Marlowe. We called the pitch, breaking ball away. So Donado makes his pitch, but Marlowe, a great at bat. When you hit a breaking ball, 2-strike pitch, backdoor. He stayed with it. You can see where he was looking out over the plate. Puts a great swing, barrels it up, gets the RBI. Big 2-out RBI by Marlowe.
Exactly the pitch you predicted we would see from Donado. Apparently Marlowe was thinking the same thing you were. 9th run batted in for Brooks, and that brings up Brett Boswell, who was singled and last time been robbed by a final play at first by Jackson Kramer.
Well, you get to critical situations in the game, you're typically going to watch a pitcher go to his best stuff, his best pitch that particular day in that count especially. So again, like you said, Barn, Marlowe thinking along with Donado there, and again, but you got to put a good swing on it, and that's exactly what he did.
Donado had retired 11 straight before the leadoff single by Gurwitz. Here in the Texas half of the 6th. First 2 innings allowed 3 hits, all singles. The only other threat was with Boswell and Barrera singling with 1 out in the 2nd inning. But Donado got out of that jam with a strikeout and a ground out. By 2-1 to Boswell. A rare 3-ball count. It's the 4th time today a Longhorn has worked Donado to 3 balls. 3-1 and now full up.
Again, good hard fastball inside corner. Even a 3-1 count, that has been the sequence that Donado has gone to time and again. It's worked. So good hard fastball in. Again, anticipate a breaking ball. He's not going to give in here to Boswell.
And with the runner going, it is ripped to right, another base hit. And off the glove of Sean Wood. Around the 3rd and headed home with the play at the plate. Safe. 3-0.
Well, one of the few mistakes that Chad Donado has made today, he did give in to Boswell. Fastball out over the plate, missed his location, and Boswell makes him pay for it. That clean single to right field. He barrels that up and again gets the big 2-out hit. RBI for Boswell. Run scored for Marlowe. Yeah, there it is. Pitch out over the plate. Boswell puts a great swing on it. As we talked about, Donado been sharp with his command all day long. Gives in with a fastball out over the plate there. And the Longhorns make him pay for it.
So for Boswell, a single and an error on the right fielder, Sean Wood. And a 3-0 lead. Tres Pereira now will try and keep things going with Boswell taking second on the air. And action in the West Virginia bullpen for the first time this afternoon. Nick Warnke has gotten up. Pereira, a single in the second. And fouled out to the first baseman Kramer in the fifth. 0-2 as Donado reaches back.
Well, he sure did. That's probably one of his better fastballs today. Hard sinking fastball down in the zone.
This has been the Longhorns' specialty this year, the 2-out RBI. More than half their runs.
Well, and Augie Garrido talked about the ability to extend innings. And that can only occur when you have big 2-out hits. You've had 2 in a row here by the Longhorns. Open this lead up now, an additional 2 runs. And the way Chad Hollingsworth is pitching for the Longhorns, that's a huge lead right now.
Because their other specialty has been leading after 6 and hanging on. They are 8-0 when they lead through 6 innings this year. The strikeout to walk ratio for the season for Donado is now 21-1. One barely misses, and it's 2-2 with 4 strikeouts today.
Well, what it does too, the worst part about that is as a hitter, when you know that a pitcher's not walking many guys, those 3-2 counts, you're expecting a good pitch to hit or a good strike to swing at. Texas has done that 2 batters in a row now.
Nicely blocked by the catcher Cam O'Brien, and it's 3-2. Second straight 3-2 count. Last 3-2 pitch did not fool Boswell. There he is at second base. Pereira, second team freshman All-America last year, the winner of the College Home Run Derby. Bounces this one to Munden at short. But the Longhorns break through with 3 runs on 4 base hits and an error in the 6th inning. Colin Shaw with the opposite field RBI double breaks open a scoreless tie here in Austin. University of Texas has produced 6 College World Series champions, 2 of which have been coached by Augie Garrido. And at this Fog Field, we move to the 7th inning. Dave Barnett and Pat Combs here in Austin. And Garrido now with Hollingsworth on the mound and a 3-0 lead to protect. And the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Mountaineers to begin with the catcher O'Brien, who has popped to short and bounced to the mound. And first ball hitting, Boswell runs out of room. Texas ranked 17th in collegiate baseball, coming in with a record of 12-7 against an intentionally challenging non-conference schedule. As Garrido wanted Texas to have had some tests under their belts before this weekend, playing people like Rice and Stanford. That one is belted foul. The preseason poll had the Longhorns behind TCU. West Virginia in the middle of the pack. In arguably the top conference in the country for college baseball.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt you can make that statement right now today that with TCU, Texas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, those are four of the top teams that could beat anybody in the country right now. Great pitching staffs, great lineups.
Hurwitz drifts back a few steps to retire O'Brien, and there's one gone in the 7th.
It is going to be a horse race this year in the Big 12 for sure.
Well, apparently the word has not gotten to the TCU pitchers that the offense is up and the ball's carrying farther and there's more home runs this year.
Yeah, that's right. And like the old saying goes, you know, good pitching usually defeats good hitting. But,
and vice versa, as Joe Garagiola
right.
used to say.
But for TCU, that's exactly right. I mean, they've just got an incredible staff. Top three guys. We talked about closer Riley Farrell. They've got all the ingredients this year to repeat and get back to the World Series.
And again to center field for Hurwitz. He retires Davis. There's the big arm of Riley Farrell. He of the triple-digit fastball. Might see him. Fox Sports 1 at 3 Eastern next Sunday. We'll be in Fort Worth.
Well, if you are looking for an electric arm, that is one. He has, like you said, triple digits on his fastball at times and a good slider to go with it. But when he is on, he is just about unhittable.
The matchup next Sunday, number 23, Oklahoma State at TCU. To right field and deep. And gone way over the Longhorn bullpen goes Sean Wood.
Now, there was a no-doubter on that swing, and ball comes about 10 feet down. He might win a free taco on that sign there, but that was a bolt. When that ball left his bat, there was no doubt that that ball was gone.
Second home run of the year for Sean Wood, and it's 3-1.
Yep, fastball middle in, thigh high. Connor Wood makes him pay for that one. Or Sean Wood, I'm sorry.
So even with the last year carry, that ball is still at least in the bullpen.
Yeah, that ball
well out of here.
That's a no-doubter. Yeah, with any baseball. But definitely put a good swing on it, and there's the free taco sign. 10 feet lower, he would have had one. I don't know where. Taco Shack. There you go.
Swinging at this by Sean Corso, the second baseman who was grounded to short and fly to right.
I don't think that applies when the opposing team hits the home run. That's the issue.
This is a pinch hitter, Ray Guarini, who is batting for Corso, who was 0 for 2. Guarini is 143 on the year. No homers, 3 runs batted in. He looks at strike 2. And Hollingsworth was ready. Guarini stepping out on him. And home run is the 5th hit allowed by Hollingsworth, the junior from Waco, Texas. He was 1-1 with an ERA of 4.5 coming in, and down on strikes goes Guarini. First strikeout of the day for Hollingsworth. Stretch time at Dish Falk Field. The Longhorns on top, 3-1. Sean Wood got West Virginia on the board with the long home run to right field, so it's 3-1. And a new pitcher, redshirt freshman from Oswego, Illinois, Nick Warnke.
A tall right-hander. He's a downward fastball throwing right-hander. He's got a good breaking ball to go with it. And he'll rely on that fastball. Got some good sink action to it late. And a little bit of a slurve to go with it.
Warnke 6'4", 195. Chad Donado goes 6 innings, allows 3 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 4 and did not walk a batter. He has still only walked 1 all year. That was a month ago. And after being lifted for the pinch hitter, Sean Corso is replaced at second by Tucker Cascade. He is a freshman from Houston. One of the many Texans, 15 all told on the Mountaineer roster. So Warnke to work to the bottom third of the Texas order here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 0-0 game until the Longhorns break through against Donado with 3 runs on 4 hits in the 6th. RBIs by Shaw, Marlowe, and Boswell. Cantu is 0 for 2. He was caught looking in the 2nd and popped to short in the 5th. A ball and 1 strike. Freshman from Corpus Christi, graduated 7th in his class. Perfect attendance for Michael Cantu from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. That's more impressive to me than graduating 7th in his class. It's more impressive than being the valedictorian.
Oh, it really is. A kid. He's just a Boy Scout. I mean, you know, he's an All-American kid. Great baseball player, great skills. I'll make the early call. I think you'll see Michael Cantu playing at the next level as well.
In the air, not hit that well. Right field, and Sean Wood has out number 1.
Well, Nick Warnke flashing that great downhill plane fastball. Good, what we call arm side action. The ball tails hard inside of the right-hander. You see Cantu not able to get around on it. And just flares the ball to right field. But 2 fastballs there really got by Cantu. So good fastball early on for Warnke.
So the DH, Connor McCullough, is grounded to first and struck out today against Donado. McCullough, redshirt freshman from Houston. With a game-winning sacrifice fly in the 10th inning Friday night. And works the count to 3 balls and no strikes. Fifth outing of the year for Warnke. It's been used in small doses. Hitting at 2/3 in his first 4 appearances. On the inside corner, and the count runs full. Three strikeouts in 2 innings of work now. In on the fists and foul back off the bat of McCullough, whose only RBI of the season. Won the game in the 10th inning on Friday night. The 3-2 pitch. McCullough stays alive. Zane Gerwitz on deck. Then we'll be back to the top of the order in Ben Johnson. More action in the West Virginia bullpen. B.J. Myers and Jeff Hardy. Low for ball 4 and the first walk for any Longhorn today. As McCullough aboard with 1 out here in the 7th.
Well, I'm sure Coach Rainey Mazie won't let Warnke go long here if he gets into trouble. Got his closer, one of his closers, better pitchers, B.J. Myers, up and throwing.
And the pinch runner, Patrick Mathis, at first base. after the walk to McCullough. So Mathis aboard with one out for Gurwitz, who has flied to center, and he got the 6th inning 3-run rally started with a leadoff single. Past the diving second baseman Corso. Johnson sacrificed him to second. Shaw doubled him home into the left field corner after a strikeout of Hinojosa. Marlowe an RBI single. Boswell an RBI single. Three runs, 7 hits and an error for the Longhorns. 1 run on 5 hits and an error for the Mountaineers. Mathis has been successful the only time he's attempted to steal this year. It was a low-scoring day today, Pat. We've talked about the change in the seams of the ball. And your first thought was probably the first thought that a lot of people had when you heard that the seams would be flattened out and that would be a disadvantage for the pitchers because they would get less of the grip and less action on the breaking balls.
Right, that it would seem logical that would be the effect for a pitcher, but actually can work as well for a pitcher, especially a good breaking ball pitcher. Less wind resistance with the higher seam, hopefully getting a better break with your breaking ball. I think we're not really seeing much of that yet, but again, still early in the season. You wonder if that will have an effect with the pitchers as well. Not an increase in velocity, as some coaches thought that might even help increase a pitcher 1 or 2 miles an hour. And what college coaches are telling us, they're not seeing that.
What they are seeing is less wind resistance on the carry. Old baseball with the higher seams on the left, more wind resistance. So home runs with the new baseball this year would have been the warning track or even in front of the warning track outs last year.
And you do make a good point, though, Barn. It is a little bit more difficult to get a grip on the breaking ball. There's not as much seam to grab a hold of. It doesn't seem to have much of an effect. I know when I made the transition from college to pro ball, it seemed like it took me about 2 or 3 outings to get used to it. And then it was just like pitching with a regular ball again. So it didn't make much of a difference.
One and two to Gurwitz.
Well, a good slider there from Warnke. Saw him start Gurwitz off with that pitch, and that ball had a little bit more downward bite, downward action to it. Starts out in the zone. You can see it right there at the last minute break down. Gurwitz thought it was a strike coming in and offered a little bit too early.
Fastball just off the outside corner. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. St. Gurwitz, all Big 12 freshman team a year ago. 3rd leading hitter for the Longhorns. Hit .333 in Omaha.
Well, good time to put the runner in motion here.
Well, Warnke's doing everything possible to prevent that.
Keeping a close eye on him, and Mathis, of course, with that speed. He's got stolen base leader type speed, and again, 2-2 count. You've got Gurwitz, who typically hits the ball hard, low, doesn't lift a lot of balls, so you may see Mathis take off here.
The fans are ready to see something besides throws to first. It's got to be close to double figures in that category for Warnke.
You just try to keep those base runners off balance just a notch. Maybe even tire them out a little bit.
The runner is not going. The pitch misses high. And the count runs full. St. Gurwitz, 7th member of his family to attend Texas. Grandfather Robert, a running back and defensive back. Sister Haley, a cheerleader here. A little bit older than Zane. Longhorns here in the 7th, trying to add to the 3-1 lead. And back-to-back walks to the 8-9 spots in the order by the reliever Warnke. Now he gets the top of the order and Ben Johnson.
Well, good at bat by Gurwitz as well. You know, I think a guy's struggling with his average, but that's not been the problem with the way he's swinging the bat. He's swinging the bat well, but you can see he's seeing the ball well. A good at bat there to take the walk, and now you've got top of the order, your best hitter in the Longhorn lineup right now, Ben Johnson,
who has been quiet today. Pop to the mound, bounce to the mound. Last time up, he sacrificed Gurwitz to set the stage for the 3-run 6th inning as Cam O'Brien's out for a word with Warnke. And Johnson, strongest, fastest Longhorn, one of the hardest workers on the team. 3 homers already, surpassing his total from last year. He misses in.
Well, a high school football player, Ben Johnson, you know, he got to Texas, and Augie was excited for him to really focus on baseball and see how good he could become. Johnson is living up to those expectations now, especially early in this Big 12 season. He has been an electric type player for the Longhorns.
Warnke just roping for the strike zone, and that will bring a visit from his dugout as he falls 2-0 behind Johnson. And it will in fact bring a pitching change. In from the bullpen comes Jeff Hardy. The pitching change here in the bottom of the 7th inning. This was a scoreless game headed to the bottom of the 6th against Chad Donado. Zane Gurwitz had started things with a single, bunted to second, and then Colin Shaw doubled him home. The game's first run after a C.J. Hinojosa strikeout. Brooks Marlowe would follow with an RBI single. Bring home Shaw. And then Brett Boswell with an RBI single with an error tacked on to right field by Wood. 3-0.
Well,
Augie Greedo went home run in the 7th, and we're 3-1.
Yeah, and Augie Greedo, you know, for Texas was really looking forward to this. The Longhorn lineup putting strings of hits together. That's the key, and what Augie was talking about in terms of execution. He's been wanting to see that, more of that, and he's starting to see it pick up. And he talked about that's the excitement that he sees with this Longhorn lineup now, as you've got more mentally tough players coming in, delivering in situations, delivering key hits with 2 outs. That's how the Longhorns have scored 2 of their runs today with 2-out singles.
So Jeff Hardy inherits a 2-0 count on Ben Johnson. And immediately delivers a strike. Warnke got the first batter, Cantu, to fly out, then walked McCullough, walked Gurwitz. Pinched runner Patrick Mathis at second base. Those 2 pitches impressive by Hardy, and it's 2-2. Jeff Hardy, junior from Sunnyvale, California, by way of Lane Junior College. 6'4", 175.
Well, good downhill fastballs we've talked about. Very similar to Donado in the style of pitching. A little bit harder fastball. He'll feature 91, 93 velocity. And he's got a good breaking ball, good changeup to go with it. But Jim Garman pulling the veteran umpiring move and giving the catcher Cam O'Brien a couple of minutes to collect himself after taking that foul ball off the shoulder.
The 2-2 pitch in the air to left field. Brad Johnson onto the warning track, and it is off the base of the wall. Runners had to wait to see if Brad Johnson would retire Ben Johnson. And so Mathis only makes third, Gurwitz to second on a long single by Ben Johnson. The bases are loaded.
Probably one of the longer singles you'll see this year. But with 1 out, Carter McCullough chooses to try to tag up at second base instead of get halfway, so that prevents him from scoring and jams everybody up on the base pass. Make it Patrick Mathis the pinch runner there. So Mathis making a little bit of a base running mistake, not getting out after seeing that ball start to go over the head of outfielder Brad Johnson.
So here is Colin Shaw with the bases loaded, 2 for 3 today. Single in the first, and the RBI double to break the 0-0 tie in the 6th. The first pitch strike. Already comes at it with some heat.
Well, Johnson finally got a pitch out over the plate to hit. That was a breaking ball that was up and out. West Virginia pitchers have been pounding Johnson in most of the day, and they make a mistake there. And 2-strike pitch, and Johnson showing you why he is such a great hitter.
Hardy, unlike the man who replaced Warnke, throwing strikes. Coming right after Johnson and now Shaw. Still 0-2. Shaw, the national leading 13th double in the 6th inning.
Well, Shaw doing a good job of fighting that fastball off. That was a well-located inside fastball. Of course, West Virginia looking for the double play ball here. Try to get out of this inning and keep the game at 3-1.
One and two. Shaw with now 18 runs batted in. That leads the Longhorns. Senior from here in Austin. The chance to break this one wide open here at the bottom of the 7th.
Good breaking ball by Hardy there. Down and in. Shaw making just enough contact to keep the bat alive, but Hardy throwing some good pitches, and Shaw is really fighting off here. Having a good at bat.
Two and two. Randy Basie had said during the week the important thing for West Virginia's pitchers in this series was when Texas would play for 1 run, limit them to 1 run. Well, they're not thinking about 1 run here. In the air to center field, K.C. Huth. Deep enough to score. Mathis. He's lit. Allow Gurwitz to take third and make it 4-1.
Well, this is an absolutely outstanding at bat for Colin Shaw. You watch the pitch locations that Jeff Hardy was making for West Virginia. He was pounding the zone, changing the eye levels up and down, breaking ball down and in. Colin Shaw hung and battled. Finally got a pitch he could handle. Gets the sacrifice fly RBI. Huge RBI, but great at bat for Colin Shaw.
Should be happy. He's got his team leading 18th and now 19th runs batted in of the season. He's made it a 3-run game. 2 outs here at the bottom of the 7th. That brings up C.J. Hinojosa, who was 0 for 3. He's fly to right, popped to second, and struck out looking.
Well, that's exactly the kind of senior leadership that Augie Grito hopes to get out of a player like Colin Shaw. And to hang in there again, we talked about that mental toughness aspect, and what Augie is really pleased to see his team start to step up and do more of.
And they have Johnson caught off first base as Gurwitz comes home. And Johnson is finally tagged out. But Zane Gurwitz was able to come home from third base with Johnson picked off first. And the Longhorns add to their lead. It's 5-1. Well, the Longhorns got an extra run squeezed out of that bottom of the 7th inning as the first baseman Kramer on this pickoff, instead of noticing Gurwitz coming home from third, is worried about trying to make the play on Johnson at first.
Well, that's exactly right. It was a great pickoff move, a first and third move. You did exactly what you wanted to do, but the second baseman here has to be watching the runner from third making the move. Once he starts to bolt for home, he has to call out to the first baseman to turn and make that throw home. This is not a situation where you're trading outs for runs. That was a huge mistake by West Virginia defensively to give up that extra run for Texas. Credit Texas for operating the first and third play and did it well.
And a new pitcher on After 7 mostly brilliant innings by Chad Hollingsworth, Kyle Johnston, who is a hard-throwing freshman from Flower Mound, Texas. On for the 7th time with those numbers. Very hard to hit, giving up just a 174 average.
Boy, hard throwing is right. You'll see a fastball here, 92 to 96 miles an hour from Johnston. He can let that puppy go, and he's got some good stuff behind it as well. Good curveball, good changeup, but you'll see an electric fastball out of the hands of Kyle Johnston from Flower Mound, Texas.
One to Casey Huth, who's 0 for 2. Flower Mound High School's produced 3 graduates involved in this matchup. B.J. Myers and Seth Jordan, also freshmen from Flower Mound High School on the West Virginia side.
Well, that was one Flower Mound player that didn't get nabbed by West Virginia. I got to see Kyle Johnston pitch in the high school playoffs last year against Southlake Carroll. That young man gave up 4 runs in the first and shut the Dragons down the rest of the game and got a big win. And there he is making big pitches for the Longhorns this year.
Huth grounds out to the second baseman Marlowe. There's 1 gone in the top half of the 8th inning. And at the top of the order in Taylor Munden, who has single flied out and walked, and took second on an errant pickoff throw by Hollingsworth in the 6th inning. It was a leadoff walk that inning, but Hollingsworth came back to retire the next 3 and leave Munden at second. And for the second time, Hollingsworth allowed a Mountaineer to reach scoring position. Their only run coming in the 7th on the 2-out homer by Sean Wood. Hollingsworth goes 7 innings. That run on 5 hits, 1 strikeout. The last batter he faced, pinch hitter Guarini, and only 1 walk, and that was Munden in the 6th. And 1-2. As Munden looks at the electric stuff Johnston can offer up.
That's exactly right, but I was just about to comment. I mean, that is some hard cheese at the knees right there. That's at least 95, 96 mile-an-hour fastball. Very difficult to make an adjustment as a hitter when you've been seeing 88 to 90. You don't think, well, 95, 96, that doesn't sound like a huge difference, but when you're hitting 95, 96 is a huge difference from an 88 to 90.
The closer picture for Texas has been somewhat cloudy. Came into this series thinking, well, we've got a committee, and candidate number 1, Ty Culbreth, took the loss in the 10th inning last night. Kyle Johnston listed as candidate number 2, with Ty Marlowe also in the picture on the committee. The concern with Johnston was if they saved him to close, would he get enough work in games that didn't require a closer?
Right, he was a starter in high school, but again, with the 3 starters that Texas has, they feel confident, especially after Hollingsworth throwing the game like he did today. If you can have a pitcher like Kyle Johnston coming out of the pen, very similar to what TCU has with Farrell, Riley Farrell, and that gives Texas some really outstanding arms in the bullpen. You've got Culbreth can come in from the left side to close games. You've got Johnston from the right side. Just gives a lot of options to Augie and Skip Johnson on the Texas bench.
And Taylor Munden continues to stay alive at a ball and 2 strikes. Senior from Louisville, Texas, by way of Marion Military Institute. 1 for 2 today. The 1-2 pitch. Takes something off. This is a little bit high.
Yeah, just a bit high, but you can tell Munden, again, really seeing the ball well to take a pitch like this, just barely out of the strike zone. That's a hitter who's seeing the ball, and of course Munden's numbers would tell you that, but just watching him react to pitches would tell you as well.
Couldn't hold off that one. High heat. Out number 2. Johnson comes back right under his chin with strike 3.
Well, he was really trying to hold up. He started out just trying to hold up and couldn't hold the swing, but Again, the effects of a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, you know, you got to start your swing a little bit earlier. That's exactly what Munden was trying to do. Just couldn't hold up on the high cheddar.
4 strikeouts now in 7 1/3 innings of work by Johnston. Justin Fox 0 for 3, nothing out of the infield yet. On the inside corner, 2-1. Fox Sr., New Martinsville, West Virginia. 2-2.
Well, same pitch back to back, and you can see Johnston even flashing great command with that hard fastball. 2 fastballs in the inner half of the plate. If you're not looking for that pitch, you're not going to make contact with it.
Contact with this one, and a roller right on top of the bag for Barrera, and Johnston comes in for a 1-2-3-8 in a 5-1 ball game at Dishball Field in Austin. Next week, we will be in Fort Worth for this matchup. Number 23, Oklahoma State against top-rated TCU, which came through the non-conference schedule 11-2 on the year. With, again, a pitching staff that is loaded. 3 Eastern here on Fox Sports 1 for Big 12 baseball. Dave Barnett and Pat Combs. As we move to the bottom of the 8th, Hinojosa, Marlowe, and Boswell against Jeff Hardy, who came in for a wild Nick Warnke. Following 6 innings by the starter Chad Donado.
I'm looking forward to the Cowboy Horned Frog game. Oklahoma State featuring one of the better offenses in the Big 12. See how well they can match up with TCU's pitching.
Also grounds out to the third baseman Fox. 1 gone to the 8th. Here's Marlowe, who contributed an RBI single and a run scored in the Texas 3-run 6th. And that will be it for Hardy. Back for a pitching change here in Austin in the 8th. Left-hander Jordan Sargent, a redshirt freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia, on with left-handed hitters Marlowe and Boswell due up in the 8th inning. Augie Garrido, 19th year here in Austin. 7 Big 12 titles, including 4 Big 12 tournament championships. Last year, their 8th College World Series and national championships, coming out of Omaha in 2002 and again in 2005.
Well, he's one of the legends for sure. Top baseball coaches in all of college baseball history. Only one of 4 coaches now to win national championships at 2 different schools. Of course, Augie, Cal State Fullerton before taking the reins here at Texas. I think you had Rick Pitino in basketball and Saban in football, and who else? You said somebody earlier. Who was the other?
Well, Urban Meyer now.
Urban Meyer now, yeah.
As of last year.
There you go.
So here's Marlowe, 1 for 3. With the RBI and the run scored in the 6th inning. The thing about Augie Garrido's career before he got to Austin, as this is lifted to left field, and an easy play for Brad Johnson. And there's out number 2. Augie was at Cal State Fullerton twice, and in between he went to Illinois for 3 years.
Right.
88 to 90. Cal State Fullerton's first year in Division I was 1975. Their first College World Series championship, and they won it again
05
in 79.
Oh, for Cal State.
Titans, their 5th year in D1. So 5 years in D1, 2 national championships.
Yeah, you talk about building a program from the ground up and doing it that quickly. And again, it just goes back to the kind of coach Augie Garrido is. He really does care about his players. He cares about developing them as full players, and he attracts those type of players as well.
Right field would initially turn the wrong way, but that one's way up in the air and plenty of time to adjust and retire Boswell, and Sargent comes in and does his job against the left-handed hitters, and we head to the ninth, 5-1. Well, last chance for the West Virginia Mountaineers, down 5-1 in the ninth. They will have the heart of their order: Jackson Kramer, Brad Johnson, and Cam O'Brien, 3, 4, and 5 against Kyle Johnston, who did not allow a ball out of the infield. Struck out top Mountaineer offensive threat Munden in his first inning of work, with the first pitch of his second inning is driven opposite field for a base hit by Kramer, who was 2 for 4 on the day.
Well, when you face a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, you're going to go up there looking for the fastball and looking for one out over the plate early in the count. That's exactly what Jackson Kramer got. So good job of hitting for him, and let's get something going here for the Mountaineers in the top of the ninth.
The left fielder, cleanup hitting Brad Johnson, a single in 3 trips. Texas trying to take 2 of 3 at home, which is basically their minimum expectation any home series. In tight, no way for Johnson to reach that one.
Well, how about 96 with arm side movement? That ball took off up and in. Johnson had no chance on that fastball.
1-2. Cantu, I think, caught the brunt of that one.
Taking a look at it here, and yeah, sure did. Caught him part of his leg, and then looked like it skipped up on his shoulder as well. Yeah, catcher's getting beat up. Umpire's taking
Both
one.
catchers and the home plate umpire.
It's been a rough day behind the dish.
Jim Garman could definitely sympathize and give Cantu as much time as he needs to shake that one off.
There are safer places to be on a baseball field than behind home plate, for sure.
So Cantu settles back in and ready for the 1-2 pitch to Brad Johnson. 2-2. Chad Hollingsworth went 7, a run on 5 hits, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. In line to improve his record to 2-1. Couldn't hold up. There's out number 1. Strikeout number 2 for Kyle Johnston.
Well, just an absolutely nasty breaking ball here. Watch the movement downward on this breaking ball. Ball starts out down middle of the plate, breaks down and away. That is just unbelievably difficult to hold up on. And of course, Johnson looking for a fastball there, 2-2. He got the breaking ball and couldn't handle it.
Ball 1 to Cam O'Brien. The catcher is 0 for 3. He's popped to short, bounced to the mound, and flied to center. In tight, and he gets away from Cantu, and Kramer will trot down to second base on the wild pitch.
It looked like Cantu was set up on the outside part of the plate looking for a fastball away, and ball just runs hard in. Cam O'Brien almost took that. Almost a hit batter. Gets away from Cantu, and runner advances.
All freshman battery. Extremely talented freshmen Johnston and Cantu. Be sure they're on the same page, and they are with that pitch. 2-1 to O'Brien.
Well, that might be the best pitch he sees in that sequence. Fastball right down the middle. 2-0 pitch, and just trying to get base runners here. That's what West Virginia's looking for.
Cam O'Brien, a switch hitter until this year. when he decided to give up, trying to work from the right side. Senior from Tulsa, out of Northeast Texas Junior College. He's worked the count to 3-1 with Kramer at second base and a base hit to right field. Kramer with no idea of doing anything but taking third in a 4-run game with 1 out.
Well, again, it doesn't matter how hard you throw. We talk about this all the time as pitchers. It doesn't matter how hard you throw. When you're down 3-1 in the count, you throw a fastball down the middle. If it's 86 or 96, typically hitters will put a good swing on it. Cam O'Brien just does just that. So now a little bit of trouble here for Kyle Johnston, hoping to avoid what happened last night with Ty Colbreth trying to close out a win.
Mountaineers making things definitely interesting here in the 9th inning. The DH Davis is 1 for 3. A single his first time up. He's grounded to third and flied to center. Davis, a freshman from Cincinnati, and he pops this one up. Boswell in for out number 2. Up to Sean Wood now to try and keep the Mountaineer hopes alive. He homered last time up. Also grounded to second and fly down a terrific play by the center fielder Gerwitz in the 5th. So as he has put a charge into it a couple of times, tried to do so there as O'Brien takes second on indifference.
Well, he hit a first pitch fastball home run out deep right field. This situation would call for keeping the ball away. You probably see Johnston work fastballs away, breaking stuff backdoor away.
0-2, and the Mountaineers down to their last strike. One and 2. Dish Falk crowd on their feet.
Johnston reaching back, tried to throw that one 120 and just a little bit high. Not a bad pitch though, good waist pitch. Change the hitter's eyesight a little bit.
Kyle Johnston closes out a 5-1 Texas victory. They take 2 out of 3 against West Virginia to open Big 12 conference play. As the freshman from Flower Mound, Texas strikes out 3 in his 2 innings in relief of Chad Hollingsworth, who gets the win to improve to 2-1 on the year. Chad Donado, mostly outstanding in 6 innings, takes the loss to fall to 2-3.
Well, nice reaction by the crowd here. Johnston getting fired up, and this is exactly what Coach Augie Grito was looking for in a team. Just this mental toughness, this approach that we need to get a little bit upset here. West Virginia was a team that came in and beat us 2 out of 3 last couple of years. And you saw a great job here by Texas today, collectively doing what they had to do to win the ball game.
The Longhorns improved to 13-7. West Virginia falls to 8-8. We'll be back in Austin. Texas wins at 5-1. The Longhorns take 2 of 3 from West Virginia. They won 5-1 today. A scoreless game until the 3-run bottom half of the 6th inning behind Chad Hollingsworth.
Well, it's a great day by Chad, and we talked about before the game with Skip Johnson what kind of pitcher he is and what he has to do to be successful. And he said, the first thing is to stay healthy. He's really battled some injury problems, and today he showed you with his stuff the great command with the fastball, the good breaking ball, and really just controlling the game from start to finish when he got out of the game in the 7th inning. he had it all together. The only time he really didn't have it together was when he got stunned, when he got hit in the leg. Made a little bit of a wild throw to first base, but other than that, a great outing for Chad Hollingsworth.
And Chad joins us. And first of all, congratulations for the win. That shot off the bat of O'Brien, where exactly did that hit you? Was there any question whether you could continue?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time I've ever been squared up that hard, I think. I mean, that's the first time I've never been able to walk it off. He squared me up good, but I knew I could get back out there. It wasn't too bad.
Well, Chad, after you get the ice bags off your legs, I'm sure you have a lot to celebrate with this outing, because Skip Johnson had talked about, you know, what it takes for you to be successful and the kind of outing he was looking forward you to have today. And Chad, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you've got all your great stuff working, or you still feel like you're not quite there yet?
Today I definitely wasn't there. I mean, my curveball, I think I threw like 2 or 3 for strikes, and I mean that's the most inconsistent I've been with my curveball, probably in my life. And I mean, I just got up there and I threw fastballs, and our defense was working. I wasn't striking people out, you know. And I mean, I think I'll get better once I get my curveball down.
Well, that's kind of the scary thing for you, because you come off of last year throwing a shutout in the regionals, throwing a shutout in Omaha, and here you are today throwing a great game against West Virginia. And Chad, you don't have your good stuff yet. That's got to be exciting to you.
Yeah, it's definitely a positive thing.
Chad, congratulations for the win today, and we appreciate the visit.
Thank you.
The junior from Waco improves to 2-1 on the year as Texas takes it 5-1. Coming up next on Fox Sports 1, Burton European Open highlights, slope style. Now this is Dave Barnett for Pat Combs saying so long from Austin, with the Longhorns knock off the Mountaineers 5-1 and take 2 out of 3. You've been watching Big 12 baseball on Fox Sports 1.